My name is Stephen Bremner. I live here in Ooltewah, Tennessee. Currently working at the Ooltewah Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I'm also going to school to become a professional welder.
Stephen is a dedicated father and husband who enjoys playing with his family. However, all that changed in an instant after an injury at work.
When I was going to school, I was working in a bakery, and there's a big mixing bowl, and I went to pick up the mixing bowl, and I heard something snap in the middle of my back, and that just turns out I got a bulging disc in my mid-back between, I believe it was T8 and T9. I lived with that for approximately 2 years. It came to the point that I couldn't even lift anything in my hands.
Stephen tried to adapt his lifestyle around the pain, but realized he wasn't getting better on his own.
Oh, absolutely. I'm 6'4", and everything that's designed is usually for someone that's about 5'7" or 5'10", so everything's very low. So sometimes I'd have to wash dishes on my knees, or just try and get down lower, because everything I have to do on the countertops is just stooping over and leaning over, and that just would put more pressure on my back, and it was just awful.
Stephen's doctor prescribed him pain medications. Due to the side effects of the medication and the agonizing pain, his personal relationships began to suffer.
It was affecting my relationship with my wife quite severely. I was on very heavy pain medicine. Starting to become very, addicted to the pain medicine. I was sleeping all the time. I was, moody, just very lethargic, just sleepy all the time. Couldn't really do any physical, activity anymore, and I was in the military and like weightlifting, and I just couldn't do any of that anymore. We were constantly in doctor's offices or hospitals or some type of specialists. Physical therapy, we tried it all.
Desperate for help, he sought out specialists near his home, only for them to offer a horribly invasive surgery that would permanently alter his way of life.
I went to some of the local doctors here in Chattanooga, and basically they told me that I'd never have a normal life. What they would have to do is they'd have to open me up from the front, they would have to remove all my organs, and then work on my disc. And they said that would just cause as much pain, and they said, you're just going to be on pain medicine for the rest of your life. And then they said I was looking at least a 6-month recovery time. When surgery wasn't an option, the doctor dropped me as a patient, and then I'd have to find another doctor to go to, and basically the same thing. It was just pain management, just being on narcotics all the time. I was constantly sleeping because of all the pain medication that I was on. I believe my wife and I probably would have been, she had the right to divorce me, because things were just so bad and I couldn't do anything.
Not wanting to go through the agonizing recovery and lifelong pain management, Stephen started researching possible alternative surgeries. That's when some friends recommended the Bonati Spine Institute.
Actually, our pastor went there, and also one of the doctors I was seeing, the family doctor I was seeing, he also went down to the Bonati Institute and told me about it, and we did some research on it.
Stephen called the Bonati Spine Institute and spoke with the patient advocate.
They said, send us your MRIs, and they would say, if we can't help you, we're not going to ask you to come. And that was just very, very impressive to me. And so I got my MRIs, and I sent it down there, and they said they could help me. And so we just set everything up to go down there.
Stephen traveled to Hudson, Florida after hearing he was a good candidate for the exclusive Bonati Spine Procedures.
The Bonati Institute was fantastic. Here in Chattanooga, if I had to get my MRIs, I had to drive 15 miles to one place, and then go to my doctor 20 miles away. But at the Bonati Institute, they had everything there. It's like they have these little stations that you go to and say, okay, well, here, just everything's connected. So you just go to this building here, and it's, everything's within walking distance. Very professional, less waiting time than when I'd actually go to, the other doctors that I'd have to, go to. Everything was by appointment. They had everything there on campus. It was fantastic.
The targeted Bonati spine procedures are performed using conscious IV sedation, where the patient remains awake and communicating with their surgeon to ensure their source of pain is eliminated.
I went in there and yeah, I was awake and they put a little monitor, and to me that was cool. I got to actually be awake and see the procedure. It took 45 minutes. I had about an hour recovery, and my wife and I walked out and we had lunch. And since I had this procedure done, it was in 2002, I believe, I haven't had to go back to the doctor once for my back. I haven't had to be put on any pain medicine for my back.
Now out of pain, Stephen is able to return to work.
Here at the church, I'm up on ladders, I'm changing air filters, I'm changing light bulbs, on the roof of my house, working, replace guttering, at my house, just being able to be active. We had some tornadoes that went through our area a few years ago, and being able to get out there with a chainsaw and cut up the trees and move the logs. I wasn't able to lift, 15 pounds in my hand. It was just excruciating pain, but now I'm able to lift, heavy logs and, chop wood out there. It's just incredible.
Stephen highly recommends anyone suffering from neck or back pain to contact the Bonati Spine Institute.
You have nothing to lose, to give it a shot. And again, I can only speak, for myself. It was a life-changing event for me and my family. And I can speak from my own personal experience that I am living a productive life because of what the Bonati Institute did for me, and the doctors and the nurses, and they were very professional. Before I had the procedure, I would have never been able to pick up my kids, and I would have never been able to hold them as, as little babies, and that means the world to me. I'm able to do things and interact with my kids as the husband, and be able to do yard work and get on my roof and do things and mow the yard is, things I wasn't able to do before.
Stephen credits the Bonati Spine Institute with giving him his life back.
These are my daughters, Sarah, she's 7, and Katie, and she's 6, and being able to go out to the park and, play with them, and, there's, still small enough where they need my help, lifting them up, on the monkey bars or something, and just being able to do that just means the world to me. Being able to, just come home and horse around with them and play around with them on the floor. It's not something I was able to do before. And being able to have my girls on my lap, and to be able to play with them, that, as a father, that just warms my heart. That just really means everything to me with my family.